I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase the Heat. People, I have some pods from Lonestar Mastiff Farms. Someone asked, what's with a Mastiff? They breed Mastiff, big bull Mastiffs, one of the most amazing, majestic dogs you will ever lay eyes on. So that's their deal, but they grow amazing peppers. So today I'm doing a comparison video. We're gonna compare 3 peppers for taste and heat. What we've got is we've got a Scotch Brain Yellow, which is just magnificent, huge, and the interior of this is gonna be spectacular looking. We've got this, which is a Ragnarok in F4 stage. Unfortunately, I broke the stem off it. I apologize, that's where the stem was. This is a Ragnarok in F4. I'll talk about what that means when we get there. A lot of you know. And I have a speck of dirt right there. It's now off. And this is an interesting pepper. This is a 7-pot Primo Yellow. Now the person that the guys from Lonestar got the seeds from must have had something next to their 7-pot Primo Yellow that picked up the influence of a different pepper. So, but we're going to review these 3, take a look at the insides, and talk about the flavor and the heat. I think we're going to start with the Ragnarok F4. It's Monday, people. Hope everybody had a great weekend. All right. So here is the interior of this pod. If you look at the wall lining especially on this side, is glistening. Very, very wet. Wow. A weird thing to say, but it certainly smells fruity, but it has a very bright aroma, if that makes sense. It may not. Okay, now I'm going to open the 7-pot Primo Yellow. Now the shape of this 7-pot Primo Yellow isn't really the typical phenotype you see on a 7-pot Primo. So whatever, he had a 7-pot Primo, whatever it was next to, didn't just pick up the color, but it picked up the shape. How about that for a completely full placenta? Whew. These will be some good pictures for Instagram. All right. I love the interiors of pods like this. When you eat them, they have a crunch like an apple. Thick-walled. All right, so give me just a quick second. I'm going to take a quick picture here for the gram. So it's Monday again, man. Okay, hang on. This one deserves a really good close-up. Wow. So all of the interiors of these pods are really interesting, but that one may be the most interesting. Look at how thick that placenta is. Now, for those that are new in the pepper game, there's no heat in the pepper seeds. There isn't. Now, all of the seeds will have capsaicin oils that surround the seeds, so they'll be hot just because of that. And the only reason those seeds are coated with the capsaicin oils is to try to give the seed a better chance to propagate, to continue on. So that's why there's oils on the outsides of the seeds. But if you were to take the seeds and wash them in a saline solution and then eat the seed. There is no heat in the seeds whatsoever, period. I've done the test. There's a video here, in fact, where my son and I ate seeds from a Primatale. Had them, Tom Broom, a good friend of mine, had washed the seeds with a saline solution. We ate the seeds, 20 of them each. Zero heat, people. Anyway, this is the Ragnarok in F4. I said I would talk about it in F4. You take 2 pods and you put them together. The fruit from that first gathering, that's called F1, filial F1. Second, if you take those pods and you grow them out again, the pods from the second season will be F2. And then the next season, and what happens is the grower will select the phenotype, the shape, the outward appearance that they're looking for. And they'll take the seeds from that particular pod and grow them out. And then when the next harvest, more of the pods will be shaped like with the desired shape. And the grower will take the seeds from the pods that he's trying to maintain that specific shape, the phenotype, and grow them out again. And by the time you get to F8, the pods are what growers refer to as stabilized. And what that means is, let's say you take the seeds from an F8 and you grow them, would be F9 essentially. All the pods are going to be very, very uniform and will all have the same phenotype. This is in F4 stage, all right? So I am assuming that this is the phenotype they're looking for. If this is the phenotype they're looking for, by the time they get to F8, all of the pods will look just like this. So this one smells very bright. It has a very crisp aroma. I don't know how to describe that any better than that, but very, very strong smelling. So the Ragnarok F4, grown by Lonestar Mastiff Farms. I'm Johnny Scoville, and this is Chase E. Hang on a minute. I gave you the wrong information. It was a very hot pepper, by the way. It was floral and hot, but the problem is, I don't think that was a Ragnarok in F4 after all that talking. It wasn't. What that pepper was, and forgive me, all of that nonsense about, well, all the stuff I told you about the F4, it's all accurate. However, that pepper was a Tiberius Mahler red. I got the number wrong. So it was a Tiberius Mahler red. Now, I don't know what the genetics are for that. It's hot. It's a tongue burn, not a throat burn. And it's funny because it has a real sting to it. It's not a normal, it almost has, at least on the tip of my tongue, it almost has a habanero sting versus a burn. Anyway, sorry about getting that wrong. That was a Tiberius Mahler red. Where in the world did I see Ragnarok then? Oh, there's where I saw 256. Yeah, I got that wrong. That was definitely not a Ragnarok. That was absolutely a Tiberius Mahler red. I'm sorry about that. At least I figured it out. Because if I didn't figure out, you guys are an educated group. Somebody would have said, dude, that's not a, somebody would have called me out on it. All right, and now I'm going to do the Scotch Braid Yellow. Just a fantastic pepper. Super fruity smelling. Interesting. Here we go. This is going to be super crunchy and delicious. Wow. That was one of the juiciest peppers I've ever eaten. Unbelievably juicy. Fruity, sweet. It wasn't lemony. I was hoping to get some citrus notes. I really didn't get any citrus notes, but it was just very, very fruity. It had a sweetness to it that was really neat. And the sweetness didn't happen immediately, which was a little odd. It was just fruity at first. Then after I started chewing it, that's when the sweetness came in, so it was kind of cool. The Tiberius Mahler Red was hotter than the Scotch Brain Yellow. Well, the Scotch Brain is a Scotch bonnet crossed with a brain strain. So anyway, here is the what was originally we thought was a yellow Primatale. Excuse me, that is red, that is orange. And it picked up something, it was grown next to something, and they cross-pollinated. But here is the 7-pot Primo Yellow. Here we go. Do you guys know what I was doing when I was chewing that pepper up? Do you know what I was doing? I mean, some of you do. I was chewing it up thinking to myself, what could this be? What orange pod? Could it be a habanero? Right? Because it almost has a habanero color. Regardless, I can't tell. I can't tell by the flavor of it what it was. I wish I could. Nonetheless, it's certainly hot. It retained the heat from the 7-pot. My lips are burning. My throat is burning. That's the hottest of the three. So the Tiberius Mahler, isn't that what it was? Tiberius Mahler Red was, okay, the mildest was the Scotch Brain, okay? Then was the Tiberius Red for heat, and the hottest was the 7-pot Primo Yellow, which was really orange. So what happened was when they grew out the 7-pot, either it happened in the garden of Lonestar, or it happened in the garden of the people that Lonestar bought the seeds from. Because they bought the seeds under the impression they were 7-pot Primo Yellow. So the cross-pollination either happened at that growers or it happened in Lone Star. I'm not quite sure, but either way, it cross-pollinated. Now, it's a great pepper. So even though it was an accident, it was a happy accident. It tasted great. It was a pretty color. It's got a good burn. Now my tip of my tongue is burning the most with all three peppers. My tolerance is rising, which is great because even with all three of those peppers, I'm only sitting at around a 3 right now for heat. But super lovely. I think later on this afternoon, I think I'm gonna eat this, which is a solid gold ghost, which is such a gorgeous, this is a wicked pretty specimen too. So I think I'm gonna eat this afternoon. But those pods are from Lonestar Mastiff Farms. Please check them out. They're great growers. They grow great peppers. Phenomenal list. They have 300 different varieties of peppers. Over 300. So please check them out. They're in the description box. Be kind to somebody today. Tell somebody you love them. In the description box, Lone Star. On the bottom, you're going to see my son, Johnny Scoble Jr. and the Lifeboat. Please check them out. Up on top, you're going to see all the challenges I've done since I started this channel. And Pepperology. Pepperology, if you're brand new to chilies, Pepperology is great because there's a lot of terminology, a lot of how-to, there are videos about how to raise your tolerance and do it in a thoughtful, intelligent way so that you're not hurting yourself. So there's a lot of good information in Pepperology for you new pepperheads. Please check that out. I love you guys. I will see you this afternoon. My name is Johnny Scoville, and this was Chase the Heat.